Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. And I wanted to get into a lesson that I've been speaking to brothers about for the past couple of weeks. The Holy Spirit finally jumped on me to put it on wax. All right, so hopefully you brothers, all right, are edified. Now, this lesson is centered around us as Israelite men who've been endowed through the Holy Spirit to go out and teach this word, all right, understanding, all right, our origin, if we are of that number, if we are indeed those men, all right, what is our true origin as we've been born into these earthly bodies, all right, we even have families, we have lives that we ultimately have to endure, right? But why were we born? Okay, we were born ultimately for a mission. Okay, so understanding your origin, okay, your true origin, and understanding your mission, all right? And when you get those, things rooted into your minds, okay, it makes you immortal. The process of immortality starts in the mind. All right. The kingdom of heaven starts with this understanding being given unto us, but we have to truly understand what we are a part of. All right. Because this flesh will be used and has been used against many men to choke them out of the mission, to choke them out of the truth, to where these earthly conditions, all right, which as we read will show you are conditions of the battle. We are in a battle, okay, are just what they are, whether it be your family, whether it be, your parents, whether it be your job, whether it be sickness. They are all conditions of the battle. All right. We are just here as pilgrims passing through. Now, what is our goal? All right. As Israelites, all right, preaching this word, what is the goal? All right. The goal is to get back to our first estate. All right. Which Yahweh Shai, as he was speaking to the Father, okay, he had that very same mindset. That's why he was so keen. That's why he was so focused, all right, on doing the work. He constantly spoke of, my meat is to do the will of the Heavenly Father. He did not look at that earthly experience as a time to enjoy, as a time to gather, as a time to, be endowed with pleasure. All right. Now, within this earthly experience, we do have pleasures. All right. We do meet people. We have children. We have wives. We have parents. But we must understand the true family, all right, that we are fighting to be restored to. And that's our heavenly estate. All right. When you read the Holy Scriptures, all right, within the Torah, Moses gives you the understanding, all right, of your origin, all right, in the beginning. As a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. All right, in Genesis, the first chapter. Okay, just make this point real quick. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Now, we always break this down, but let's go into it. What is that word beginning? All right, the word beginning is Ra'ashiath. Okay, first, beginning, chief, beginning, first, chief, choice part. All right, and when you go to the root word, Ra'ash, head, top, summit, upper part, chief, total, height, head, man of city, of nation, place, family, priest. Okay, and when you go into that term, God, so in the beginning, the Lord is showing you his order. Okay, God is what? Alahayim. Okay, and as we put the pieces of the puzzle together, okay, this was the first church. This is the priesthood, all right, after the order of Melchizedek, all right, creating the heavens and the earth. Now, we have lessons on that, okay. Through the blueprint of the Most High, we were in complete order. That's if we are of that number, okay. We were in complete order, all right, doing the will of the Heavenly Father from the foundation of the earth, which will show you. Okay, this is the estate we're fighting to return to. And as we put the scriptures together, you will see, because Yahweh Shai himself, all right, remember, all right, his prayer, all right, as it's called a high priestly prayer, because he's the head of the church. Okay. And you must understand, even Yahweh Shai, that time he came onto the earth, he was born, all right, to fulfill prophecy. The prophecy said that a child was going to be born through the loins and lineage of David. All right. His parents came together in a union so that he can be born to fulfill that prophecy. And you have to look at, all right, your life as well the same way. This is not your beginning. All right. You were just chosen as a sacrifice to fulfill what was written so that we can get to the next glory. Okay. We're just pilgrims passing through, and we'll get into all of that. Now, let's listen to what Yahweh Shai asks and requests of the Father as he finished his course. Okay. This is John 17:4. This is Yahweh Shai speaking to the Father, showing you they're not the same. Okay, it says, I have glorified thee on earth. I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. See? That's why he was born into the earth. To what? He had to be offered up as a sacrifice. Okay, be the lamb without blemish. That was all prophesied. He was born into this body at this time to fulfill that. And he understood that. Okay, he didn't look at that life as a time to please himself, as a time to be the man, as a time to rule and dominate. Though it's coming, all right, that particular life, he wasn't born for that purpose. He was born to do what? Offer himself up as a sacrifice so that blood can cover us in these times as we're fighting to get brought back to that glory. Now listen to what he says. I have glorified thee on earth. I have finished the work which thou hast gavest me to do. And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had before the world was. See that? Listen to that. Glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. Okay, and then he's going into what he did. He manifested the name. He taught. All right, he dealt with the brethren. He did everything the Heavenly Father, okay, ordered him to do. Now, as you go down, their future glory. See, their future glory. And who's that there? The disciples, the ones who have followed the Lamb whithersoever you goeth. All right, the church. All right, as well as those who believe. Now, when you read verse 22, it says, and the glory which thou gavest me, I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one. I in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one. Okay? And that the world may know that thou hast sent me and hast loved me. All right? And thou hast, as thou hast, and has loved them as thou hast loved me. Okay? Because remember, we were a spiritual family, okay, before we were a physical family on the earth. Okay? And this family in the heavens was headed by Yahweh Shai through the Most High God, Yahweh. He spoke Yahweh Shai into existence. All right? From that point came the first fruit spirits to be an aid and a help unto him. Okay? And then on earth, it started with Adam, okay, and the sons of God, which fell from their glory in a state to be rulers, all right, and judges and priests of the entire planet Earth. Okay. And when you, as you read the story, we'll get it in 2 Ezra 7, you know, at the time of Adam's fall, from that point, we had to deal with imperfection. Okay. Even at the time Solomon, got the kingdom and we had the throne of David established, 40 years of peace. Eventually we fell from that. Why? Because of the flesh. All right. And from that point on, you can read Daniel, the 7th chapter. It gives you an outline of the various different captivities that we would have to suffer. All right. Before we were brought back to our heavenly estate. So Yahweh Shai in this chapter is praying for us. Okay. Praying to the Father to restore him to his rightful order and to restore us eventually. So let's listen. It says, "In the glory which thou gavest me, I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are. I and them, and thou and me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that thou hast sent me, and hast loved them as thou lovest me. Father, I will that they also, whom thou hast given me," okay, his brethren, okay, "be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory." See that? "Be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory, which thou hast given me, for thou lovest me before the foundation of the world." See that? This is what we are fighting for, to return to our heavenly estate. All right? As you read prophecy, it said in the latter days, the remnant will wake up, okay? They would preach, they would prophesy, they would stand on their feet as a great army. They would eventually be beamed up and changed to back to what? Their heavenly estate, to put on those immortal bodies, okay? But within that, we would have to have parents that met, okay? We would be born, we would go to school, we would go through all of these things. And eventually we would wake up for our true calling. Okay, and nothing else matters above that true calling. Now it says here, as you can see here, he said, "For thou lovest me before the foundation of the world." So we go to Ephesians 1 and 3. "Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, who has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in HaMashiach." Okay, "according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world." Okay, so there are a group of first fruit spirits that were with Yahweh Shai before the foundation of the world. Okay, "He hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach unto himself, according to the good pleasure of his will." Okay, so the mission that we have as we've been awakened here in these latter days is to fight, okay, is to get back to that heavenly estate. And it's all written, all right? But as Paul said here, real quick, all right, Galatians 1 and 5, "But when it pleased God, who separated me from my mother's womb and called me by his grace," okay, "for what purpose? To preach unto the Gentiles." Okay, we have that same lot. Okay, he chose us from the foundation of the earth, all right, for our purpose. Now, as you, even Paul, he had a life before he was called to his true calling. Okay, we all have these lives, we all have these particular things that we're even born into parents. Now the beautiful thing about that is Yahweh Shai, right? As we'll show you, he was born, he had Joseph as his father and Mary as his mother. Okay, but if we understand the truth and we understand our true origin, that's not our true parents. Those were parents who the Lord had come together within that lifetime and these lifetimes, in this lifetime. All right, all of us are a miracle. Each story of each member of the elect, we're all miracles. But the Lord had our parents come together so that that seed can be brought into the earth, and the spirit, which is, the spirit of the elect chosen from the foundation of the earth, be put into that body for a purpose. You see? So we were separated from our mother's womb, all right, through the seed of man, all right, to be called by his grace. Okay, as even he told Jeremiah. Let's get that real quick. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw it earlier. Jeremiah 1 and 5. "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, okay, and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. You see that? So before we were born, in whatever lifetime we were born in, and hopefully this is the final one where we'll have to deal with this flesh and everything, the Lord chose us for a purpose. So understanding your true origin helps you to look at this life, all right, as a mission, to look at these bodies as merely costumes to spy out the land. Okay, and the families you have, though you respect and honor your father, your mother, okay, if you have a wife, you love your wife. If you have a child, you do the best that you can, but none of those things should be able to separate you, all right, from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, if you understand your true origin and if you understand what the mission is. Now, all right, this is the book of Isaiah 49 and 5. And now saith Yahweh that formed me from the womb to be his servant. See, that is the only reason your mother and father came together. Okay? to form you so that you can grow up and serve the Lord. Okay? To bring Jacob again to him. See, this is a part of our mission. To preach the word that the elect may be gathered, which is a sacrifice. We have to make our bodies a true sacrifice for this mission. And it takes a lot. It says to bring Jacob again to him. All right. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of Yahweh, and my God shall be my strength. He's going to strengthen us. All right. And Isaiah was one of those men. Jeremiah was one of those men. Habakkuk. We have various of them. We read about some of them we never read about. That's in the book of Sirach, the 44th chapter. Okay, the Lord gave us a very small insight of our legacy and everything. And if you're able to put the pieces together, this is a beautiful thing, man. All right, but he doesn't show that mystery to everybody. Okay, so a lot of people who come to the understanding that they're Israelites, they look at it based upon this life. See? They don't understand that it's a sacrifice. They don't understand, all right, that there's a greater glory coming. We weren't sent here to be the man. We weren't sent here to get the praises of men and all of these various different things. Now, through particular brothers' teaching, you're going to have those taking a liking unto your spirit and are drawn to you. Those may be people who followed you in another life. We're all back in this life meeting up all over again, but we cannot put, all right, these earthly and carnal bodies and the praises of men and all of that above the mission. Yahweh Shai himself had far more power than we do in these bodies, right? And he didn't make it about himself. Why should we? Okay. Now, Isaiah 49 and 6, and he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob. It's a light thing, but it comes with a lot. All right. It's simple, but nobody said it was easy. Okay. It's a light thing. It says, and to restore the preserved of Israel, the remnant, I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles. See, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the ends of the world. And we just did a lesson on who salvation was for. Okay. So this is why we were born. All right. We were born for this purpose. This is our mission. To do what? Restore the preserved of Israel through what? Preaching the word. See? And we read about it in various scriptures and it just kind of goes over your head. Okay. You were born through the seed of a man. You came out of the womb of a mother for this purpose. Okay. We read things like this in the book of Revelation 11, right? Real quick, Revelation 11, and we'll just get to the point. In 11, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood on their feet, and great fear fell on them which saw them. And this is linked directly to Ezekiel the 37th chapter. Through the prophets preaching, okay, the dry bones would be awakened through the spirit. Okay, it's through the spirit of the Most High God, through Yahweh Shai, who sends us down the Holy Spirit. but you are a vessel born into the earth to fulfill that. See, now this says a lot in just three sentences, in just a few words. You see, it started with Abba Bivens, High Priest Abba Bivens, and then from there, eventually the prophets would awaken, the word would grow and grow and grow and grow. And each one of the teachers, they needed parents. They needed parents to birth them into the earth for these purposes. But that ain't their origin. See? And what does that lead to? And they heard a great voice from heaven saying to them, come up hither. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them, being beamed back up to return to our heavenly estate, which Second Ezra, the second chapter, gives you an insight to the family reunion where we're going to be face to face with Yahushua, being crowned, drinking wine with him, praising, singing songs. Okay? So we're here to speak this into existence. Let's go here real quick. And our forefathers understood this. And see, once you understand this, okay, it's easier for you to be a sacrifice. All right, because that's exactly what you were chosen to be, a sacrifice. Okay, this is Hebrews 11 and 13, speaking of our forefathers. Okay, it says, these all died in faith, not having received the promises. Okay, see, they understood the promise, and they understood that they were a sacrifice, all right, to be an example for those in the latter times who would wake up for this very purpose, to be brought back to our heavenly estate and be inheritors, all right, of the land, the promised land, all right. It says, these all died in faith, all right, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims in the earth. Strangers and pilgrims in the earth. They understood that they were only pilgrims. Now, let's go to this scripture here. I have it, 1 Peter 2 and 11. This is what Peter said to us, okay? That holy priesthood, okay? 1 Peter 2 and 11. Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lust which war against the soul. And see, this flesh is what has always separated us from the Father. So as we're on this mission, okay, you meet women, all right, you have children, okay, you have families, okay, and see how I can put this. These things can deter you from the mission if you get too attached to them and look at them above what they are. Okay, all they are is conditions of the battle, nothing more. You see, and we'll get that in Second Ezra, the 7th chapter. Now, when you look up this term pilgrim, okay, he said, I dearly beloved is Dawadah, David, the house of David. I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims. See, this is the mindset you must have, all right, as pertaining to this life. We're just strangers and pilgrims. This is not our world. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's go to the book of, real quick, 1 John, the 3rd chapter. And we're going to look up that word pilgrim as well. 1 John 3 and 1. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed on us, that we should be called the sons of God. Okay? Look, Yahushua's true origin was directly from the Father, and we followed after that order through him. That's our true Father. That's our true origin. The parents we have here, really, we're the fathers of them. Okay? But you do respect and honor them. Okay? And they may have spirits on them, but these all are conditions of the battle. If you allow these earthly relationships, your wife or your child, to deter you from the mission, then you were not fit. This is why Yahweh Shai said those hard sayings. If any man come to me and hate not his mother, his father, his brother, or whatever, all right, is not willing to let it all go, then you don't understand the mission and you don't understand your true origin. See, understanding your true origin and understanding this mission and that you're just a pilgrim helps you to cope with the hell that comes in this flesh. And you understand that, look, the victory is already written. You just have to endure. And it's easier said than done. All right. But through Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and having the right mindset as pertaining all of these things you have before you in this world, in this flesh, it's easier to deal with. Things are easier to overcome. But when you start to look at these things more than what they are, and you start to look at those things as the end all be all and look at this life as your true origin, you lose sight. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. That is an honor. Okay? Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. See, people do not understand what you feel. People do not, even your woman. Okay, nobody will ever understand what you as a man of the Lord go through mentally in your spirit, the battle you have. Okay, now they may believe on your words through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, which that's a good thing. They may have faith through what you are saying, but they can never understand. All right, and then outside of that, okay, the people in the world, they look at us as weirdos. They look at us as crazy. The world knoweth us not. Our own people are like, what? What are you doing? They walk by the camp. They're like, is that Ronald? What the fuck wrong with him? What is he doing? That weirdo. See, but we're men on a mission. Okay. We don't count our own lives worth anything. Look, we're here to serve Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, and that goes into that saying, they love not their lives unto the death, which we'll get. Okay, see, the most of the people who are here, they love their lives. Okay, to the point where these things in this world, this origin, this is all for them. They don't know of anything past this. And we can't have that mindset. See, and that separates us. Okay, the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be, because we are fighting to return to that origin. Okay, and we'll get all of that. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And he prayed for us. He did his job to get back to the right-hand side, his origin, his original order, as the priest of the Most High. Now we have to do our duties, and all of these things were written before the foundation of the earth. You were just given this body to complete the mission, and this is the last body in these kind of tabernacles that we're going to have to deal with. 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, deals with that. I'll do a lesson on that, the Lord willing, another time. All right, because I have a few scriptures I want to get into. It says, and every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure. You see that? Every man that hath this hope purifieth. If you understand this, if you understand what you're truly fighting for, you purify yourself. You're immovable. Okay? You're walking towards immortality. You're walking towards the promised land. Understanding that this is just a mission, and everything that you encounter is just a condition of the battle. Are you going to be overcome by it? No, you have to overcome death. Yahweh Shai did it. Okay? So going back to this point, okay, let's read it again. Dearly beloved, 2 Peter 2:11, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts. Now we'll look up this term, pilgrims, because that's what we are. We're strangers and pilgrims.
Strong's G 3927. Parepidemos. Parepidemos.
One who comes from a foreign country into a city or land to reside there by the side of the natives. See, this world is for these people. We're just residing here to complete our mission. The apartments, the houses, okay, the cars, all of these things are only temporal for us, and we understand that. This is not our rest. This is filthy and polluted. Our job is to speak the end into existence. That's why you were born. That is the purpose of you being born. Now, the families you do have, okay, you have to look at it like this, because this is the condition of the battle, okay, because that's the thing that trips up a lot of Jake. You see, the families you have, right, let's say your child, your wife, your child, okay, they can be given unto you, and maybe they could be delivered, all right, through your sacrifice. But they can also be given unto you and taken away, all right, for what? The purpose of a test, a trial. And if you are overcome, all right, by those things that you've encountered in this flesh that you were born into, then guess what? Then you're not fit to be a disciple of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. This is one of the most most hardcore things to be a part of. You see? And you must understand that. See, understanding these things help you to move forward, understanding your purpose and the things you encounter as just what they are. Your job, everything, man. That's why the elect, all right, our forefathers took those deaths. See, when you look at the followers of Yahushua or the men of the Lord, the prophets, they took the deaths they took and they lived the lives they lived because they understood this. And we got to understand this. A stranger sojourning in a strange place, a foreigner. This world is not for us. Okay? Even if we went back to Jerusalem, we'd be foreigners. All right? Because according to prophecy, these heathen would have to rule. Okay? And through them being destroyed, then we return to our rightful place. That's why we are strangers. Let's look up the word stranger. Okay? As strangers and pilgrims. We have to understand that.
Strong's G 3941. Paroikos. Paroikos.
Dwelling near, neighboring. All right. A stranger, a foreigner, one who lives in a place without the right of citizenship. All right. We don't belong here. All right. Metaphorically, without citizenship in God's kingdom. One who lives on earth as a stranger, a sojourner on the earth of followers of Yahweh Shai, whose home is in heaven. And that's our true calling, man. See, our home is in the heavens, man. Okay? See that real quick. The family of God, of the followers of Yahweh Shai, the church of the Old and New Testaments. Now, what is the origin of the church? All right, this is Colossians. All right, speaking of Yahweh Shai, 1:17, it says, and he is before all things. All right, he's the first spirit created by the Most High God, Yahweh, and by him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, right? He's the Alpha and Omega. He's the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have preeminence. Okay? For it pleased the Father that in him should all fullness dwell. So there was a church in the beginning. We read about that in the beginning. The Lord was showing you his church, his congregation, his priesthood. All right? And who's the priest of the Most High God? The Son of God. All right, Melchizedek. Now, let's get this too in the book, all right, of Hebrews, all right, 12:22. But ye are come unto the Mount Sion, unto the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, okay, into an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly, all right, and church of the firstborn, all right, which are written in heaven, and to God, the judge of all right, and to the spirits of just men made perfect. All right, so we're literal immortals living in mortal flesh. Okay, and when you look up this word firstborn, okay,
Strong's G 4416. Prototikos. Prototikos.
Okay. Firstborn, all right, of man or beast, and that's on the earth. But see, the elect are the firstborns in the heaven. Okay. First in time or placed in any succession of things or persons, first in rank, influence, honor, chief. Okay, and that's why the Lord said he's going to restore us. Let's get that in the book of Isaiah 1, and then we'll get into the mission aspect of it. But you have to understand your origin. Okay, that helps you see things more clear, and that helps you to stay on the mission. See, Yahweh constantly boasted of his mission. I'm here to do this. He had to be a sacrifice, and we're here to offer up our bodies as a living sacrifice. Okay, see, Yahweh sacrifice, as well as the first fruits sacrifice, leads to everyone of that family being brought back to glory, man. All right, so don't look at yourself as just some regular nigga. Okay, this is Isaiah 1:26, and I will restore thy judges as at the first. This is what's happening. This is the process of that. All right, and thy counselors as at the beginning. All right, now when we read Genesis 1:1, God Elohim, that word Elohim is what? Rulers, judges, divine ones. Okay, godlike. That's why the scriptures say the house of David shall be as God. Works or special possessions of God. Okay, the first fruits. See, and as we're reading here in the book of Isaiah, he's going to restore us to that first estate. This is why we're here. So I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. All right, imagine your government, all right, being Yahweh Shai, all right, in the first fruits, the ones who created heaven and earth through the blueprint given unto them, all right, by the Most High through Yahweh Shai. That's going to be the government. Could you imagine that? Wow. Yeah, this is a heavy thing we're a part of, man. It's not low level. Now, going back to this term, okay, strangers and pilgrims, I pulled up pilgrim, all right, on this etymology online. Pilgrim, all right, a person traveling to a holy place. See, you were born into this life, all right, to do what? Receive the word eventually on your way to the holy place. We're traveling to a holy place. Okay, and once we receive those new bodies, we're going to come back down on earth and set up our kingdom. See, this kingdom was for the heathen. This kingdom, as prophecy states, the heathen would have to rule. All right, but through the destruction of the fourth beast and the horn that issue forth from it comes our kingdom, man. And we're just about at the end of Esau's world. We're here traveling to a holy place. We're pilgrims. We can't look at this world as the end all be all of our lives. Okay, again, we have no continuing city here. It's at Hebrews 13. Let's see here. Or is it 14? Let's see here. Yep, Hebrews 13:14. For here we have no continuing city, all right, but we seek one to come. Here we have no continuing city. So if you allow the encounters you have, these families you have, to take you away from your purpose and off your mission, then you don't get it. You never got it in the first place. Your ego, the fact that you get called out or something is told to you about your spirit that you might need to change. And some men say, you know what? I didn't sign up for this, and they leave. All right. Well, Yahweh Shai could have had that same mindset. Did he? He could have been like, I'm not for to get spat on. I'm not for to let these crackers whoop my ass and bleed and go through all of this hell. I'm not. He could have did that, but he understood his mission. Okay, so as pilgrims, we are persons traveling to a holy place. Okay, nothing more. It says as a penance or to discharge some vow or religious obligation. See, we're here, all right? And when you enter into this truth, ultimately you've taken a vow, all right? And you have an obligation, as Paul said, 1 Corinthians 9:16, for though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe to me if I preach not the gospel. All right, that's why you were put here. You were given this gift, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, for a duty amongst the church. Let's get Ephesians 4:7. Let's get to the point. Ephesians 4:7. But unto every one of us, all right, the teachers, all right, the members of the elect, period, okay, is giving grace according to the measure of the gift of a Mashiach. And this is a gift because the Lord could just destroy us, all right, for sins we did in other lives, for sins we did in this life. But he gave us grace so that we can offer up our sacrifice and then be covered and forgiven, all right, where our sins are wiped out. Yahweh Shai did a big thing for us, man. Never take that sacrifice lightly. And remember what he did. But unto every one of us is giving grace according to the measure of the gift of Hamashiach. Woo! We were given a gift. Wherefore he said, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now, when did he ascend up on high? After he completed his mission, he was sacrificed, he rose, he broke bread with particular brothers and sisters, 40 days and 40 nights. He ascended back on high, okay, to the right-hand side. And he told his disciples, look, you're going to have to preach and prophesy even to the uttermost parts of the earth. And this is where we are. Okay, so when he ascended up on high, he was able to act as high priest in the heavens, and he sent down gifts unto men for the purpose of what? Gathering the tribes back together through the preaching of the gospel. Okay? Yeah, little old you. And he made sure that the body would be a lowly thing. It wouldn't be anything glorious. It wouldn't be attached to this world. Okay, it would be despicable to look at by the world. All right? It says, all right, but to you who are bound and who are part of that family, it's the best thing going unto you. All right? Lord willing, we endure. It says, now that he ascended, all right, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? Did not he have to come down as a man through the loins and lineage of David to complete his mission? Okay? He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above the heavens, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and some teachers. For what? For the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, and for the edifying of the body of a Mashiach, till we all come to the unity of the faith, the elect, all right, and of the knowledge of the Son of God. You got to understand Yahweh Shai. Again, Yahweh Shai didn't just show up as Yahweh Shai in the book of Matthew. As a matter of fact, I have to bring this out. Then we'll go right back to this. Let's get Micah, the 5th chapter. A prophecy about Yahweh Shai. All right, and you have to look at yourself like this as well. You have to take this mindset. This is Micah 5:2, or I'm going to read this in the NLT. Okay, it says, but you, O Bethlehem, Ephratah, are only a small village among all the people of Judah. Yet a ruler of Israel will come from you, ones whose origins are from the distant past. See, Yahweh Shai didn't just pop up at the time of Matthew. That spirit goes back to the beginning. His origins are from the distant past, from the beginning. All right? In the first fruit spirits with him. All right? So he understood that his true father was Yahweh. All right? But he still honored his earthly parents. But when it came time, look, he told him, look, I'm here to do my father's business. See, Mary came to him, look, me and your father been looking for you. Where you been? He's look, woman, don't you, I'm about my father's business. So he put his father's business above even his own parents. But he kept the law. He honored them. All right. So we all have been given this gift. All right. A measure of the gift for the purpose of what? Going out and doing with the Heavenly Father. We all have our particular role in the church. Now, going back to where we were in 1 Corinthians 9 and 16, for though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Look up this word, necessity. This is our mission. This is what we were born for. You weren't born to be the world's greatest dad. You weren't born to be the greatest husband. See, a lot of Israelites like to glory in those things and put that above the true mission. We're going to have families. And if you understand that, you're good. We're going to have I mean, come on, man. What did the Lord tell Peter, man? Everything you've given up, you're going to receive back 100-fold. So yeah, if your family happens to be delivered, there's nothing wrong with loving your wife. There's nothing wrong with loving your children. But all of these things, they can become a distraction and they can deter you from the mission. That's why the Lord sometimes takes families from brothers, and some brothers are like, that's just like, God damn, that's too much. I can't fathom. Well, that means that ultimately you don't understand the mission and you need to pray for more faith. It's a hard saying, and these are hard things to ingest. But if you are of that first fruit body, you're going to overcome death. You're going to overcome those thoughts. You're going to overcome all of that. Okay?
Strong's G 318. Anake.
Necessity imposed either by circumstances, conditions of the battle, which we still have yet to get, regarding one's advantage, custom, argument, calamity, distress, straits. And that's what comes with teaching his word. You have to live as a civilian, but you're really a warrior. You're at war. You're not a civilian, yet you have to live as a civilian, yet you're really on the front lines of a spiritual war. All right? Woe unto me if I preach not the gospel. For if I do this willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, all right, because you have people that start to blame the truth and the mission for the fact that their life is so garbage. Okay, and then they fall out. And they think they're going back to living in happiness and, but oh boy, what hell awaits you. It says, against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. Let's read this in the NLT. It says, if I were doing this on my own initiative, I would deserve payment, but I have no choice, for God has given me this sacred trust. See, he's giving you this sacred trust, but you're doing it as you're a pilgrim in Babylon the Great, in the various different captivities where we are, on our way to the holy place, okay, fulfilling our religious obligation, which religion just really means what you serve, what you do, okay? It says, or seeking some miracle or spiritual benefit. And that's what we're doing. A traveler. We're just traveling here. You can't put too much into this life, man. Okay? Now, let me get this real quick. Hebrews 2:11. For both he that sanctified and they who are sanctified are all of one. It's Yahushua and the first fruit spirits. And the first fruit spirits followed him from the foundation of the earth. That's why it says in Revelation 14, these first fruit spirits followed the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. That's where the true disciples started. All right. But for the purpose of the story, okay, we have the word. Okay. And those men are sent on earth to fulfill and do particular things in their order for the purpose of the Lord's story to be fulfilled, man. Isn't that not a beautiful thing? All right. For both he that sanctified and they who are sanctified are all of one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren. See, we're the brethren. All right. What did he say to his disciples? Ye have been with me. This is John 15:27. And ye shall bear witness because ye have been with me from the beginning. Ye have been with me from the beginning. Yahushua said that to his disciples. All right. And and we're his brothers, Lord willing, we're of that number. It says, saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praises unto God, unto thee. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children which God have given me, that ride or die body. Okay. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood. Okay. We had to be born through a father and a mother. Okay. And crying, grew up eating, drinking chocolate milk at school, chicken nuggets, all types of madness. We had to, but Yahushua did too. He did it first. It says, he also himself likewise took part of the same, showing you ain't no virgin birth. Let's read this again. For as much then as children are partakers of flesh and blood, okay, it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah. Okay, we're all Israelites. It says, he also himself likewise took part of the same. Yahushua was born while Rome was ruling. His parents had to run from Herod. He was raised in Nazareth. After he fled, his parents and his mother and father fled, to Egypt. Eventually, they ended up in Nazareth, in a subdivision of Nazareth called Galilee, which is not the most richest neighborhood, and that's where he was raised up. That's why they said, "Can any good thing come out of Nazareth?" He literally lived. We're walking in his footsteps. You see, but we need to be sanctified. We're likened unto Gentiles. We're likened unto the uncircumcision. But through him, we are made circumcised, man. We are made whole. So he himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that have power over death, and that is the devil. And see, that's where we're fighting to return to. Same thing he did. He returned to the Father, to his rightful position on the right-hand side. And we don't even really fully understand that. When you look up right hand in the Greek, it's a special, in the Hebrew, it's a special place of honor. So we think right hand, like, how would y'all just sitting there? All right, what you want me to do? Man, just imagine what he's doing up there. Just imagine what we were doing with him. To really fully understand everything. All right? But see, here we know in part and prophesy in part. That doesn't mean we don't have 100% of the gospel needed to get salvation, but there's particular things, all right, that we won't really fully get and understand until we're face to face with Yahushua. Then we're going to be like, wow, okay. So he came to destroy death. He conquered death. Okay? And to deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. We've been subject to bondage since the fall of Adam. And what is the bondage? These bodies. That's what separates us from the Most High. Can't be holy in this flesh. All right. Now, to the best of our ability, we keep the laws, but ultimately we need new bodies, man. What does it say in 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter? I'm not going to read it all, but 2 Corinthians 5:2, for in this body, let's start at 1. For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of God, and house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. All right. For in this we groan, in these bodies we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed upon with our house which is from heaven. This is what we're fighting for, man. To return to our natural origin, man. Okay? Verse 16, for verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Okay, Yahushua came through the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob when he was born, all right, in the book of Matthew, in the book of Luke, and all of these various different gospels. He fulfilled the prophecy, man. Wherefore, in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren. Yahushua wanted to get back to his rightful glory. That's why he was so dead set on doing his duty, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. That was his duty. All right. Now let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras 7. Okay, because this chapter, man, goodness gracious, this is a beautiful chapter, and now it makes a lot more sense. It talks about how in order to get to the wide, we have to go through the straight. See, in the beginning, we were just supposed to have the wide. That's what Adam was set up for. But through sin and through a fall, all right, and what happened? Adam was kicked out of the garden. He was kicked out of Eden. He was kicked out of Jerusalem, right? The sons of God were kicked out. Okay, we were able to return there at the time of David and Solomon for 40 years, but eventually we messed up, okay? And eventually got kicked out again. And eventually at the time of 70 AD, the Lord pretty much destroyed the temple, and we've been scattered ever since, man. You may have a few Israelites are still over there, actual seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but us as a nation, we ain't been there. So to get back there, we had to go through these prophecies, man. Daniel, the 7th chapter, you read the beast. Those are the captivities where we would be scattered and go through what we had to go through in order to get to where we got to get. Okay, so to get to the wide, we have to go through the narrow, the straight gate, positions of difficulty. That's what this chapter is about. Okay, let's read verse That's verse 6. There is also another thing. A city is builded, symbolic of the kingdom, and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if it were a fire on the right hand, and on the left hand a deep water. And the only path between them both, even between the fire and water, so small that there could be but one man go there at once. See, that's how hard it's likened to get to the kingdom of heaven. That's why the Lord has to put a spirit on us. The things we're going to have to go through, the things we're prophesying, you think like, well, damn, how I'm going to get through that? It says, if this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, the promised land, okay, if he shall never pass the danger before it, how shall we receive this inheritance? And I said, it is so, Lord. Then he said unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. We got to go through that. Because for their sake I made the world. This whole world was created, all right, for one particular chosen seed to dominate, rule, and show the rest of the heathen how to live and to be priest, to teach them the laws, to show them the ways. But what happened? We always, because of this flesh, Because with this flesh, what do we always do? Let's get Wisdom of Solomon. I believe it's the second chapter. Wisdom of Solomon 2:23. For God created man to be immortal. What man? The chosen man, the Israelite man. At first we were the sons of God. All right. But it tracks, all right, that particular seed through the whole Bible. And see, you Christians have messed up. You've tried to take the Bible and X the chosen seed out and replace it with all of these heathen. It ain't going to work because we're here. According to prophecy, we were born into the earth. We survived the crack. We survived the annihilators and all of the chemicals, all right? And we here, the Tampico juice, blue juice. What was that? The cow pus ice cream sandwiches, okay? Hog head cheese, all of the crap, and we're here. Everything that was designed to destroy us, we overcame it. How much more are we going to overcome into those chariots? So God created man to be immortal. This was how we were supposed to be. We weren't supposed to suffer death. We were supposed to enjoy the earth, and that's the hard part, that we're here on the earth and we can't enjoy it. So what do? You try to look for outs. You try to sneak. You try to do this, and it just creates, it's hell, especially as an Israelite man. Now, especially now, knowing the truth, knowing how it's supposed to be, knowing what a state you're going to, but you got to deal with this for the purpose of prophecy being fulfilled. It's a sacrifice. You are a sacrifice. The earth was made to enjoy, but here it is. We have to live in it, in our own creation, in hell. That's why 2nd Ezra 7 is going to say what it say. Oh, Adam, what hast thou done? For God created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. That's what the sons of God were supposed to be, and we're going to return to that, right? Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. Through envy of the devil came death into the world. We weren't supposed to suffer like this. However, it was the Lord's will. Okay. So read this again, 2nd Ezra 7:11. But because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed, that now is done. Hell. Then were the interests of this world made narrow. To get back to paradise, we had to go through hell, man, and go through whatever was written. Full of sorrow and travail, and see, through Abraham we're promised that land back. You know, see, a lot of people don't see Abraham, who's a descendant of Adam through Seth, through Noah, through Shem, through Arphaxad, through Eber, and so forth, right? Abraham, when he came, the Lord restored, all right, the breath, he restored that lineage to their purpose through him, right? And he had Isaac and Jacob. But what did the Lord give him? He gave him that land that Adam was kicked out of. Okay, so there's covenants and things along the way that we should be thankful for. And our forefathers' sacrifices, all right, are what allows us to have this chance. So we now have our sacrifice. And we have to look at it that way. We have to put the mission above the pleasures and above the emotions and everything else that comes in this world. And sometimes we be so focused and on that, all right, it calls you earthly hell. Anyway, therefore were the interests of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and of evil, full of perils and very painful. For the interests of the elder world were made wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. When Adam was set up in the garden, I mean, it tells you things were flourishing. Now, as you go down, because we ain't going to read the whole chapter, as you go down, now that he's understanding, like, damn, this is going to take all of this to get back to immortality. What did he say? Verse 48, O Adam, what hast thou done? For though it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone, but we all that come of thee. Okay, and see, that's the sons of God. Okay, the Nephilim, the fallen ones. We fell, all right, from our estate as rulers, as leaders, as the true judges. We came onto the earth and fumbled. We messed up. Okay? That's why we had to undergo all of this hell. So he's like, Adam, what hast thou done? He's like even asking the angel, why didn't the Lord just make Adam to do right so that we wouldn't have to go through this? It wasn't the will of the Lord. He wrote the movie how he wanted it to go. And now we understand that going off and following the serpent ain't the way. That's why we're so adamant. Okay, we've been here before. It says, for though it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone, but all we that come of thee. And how are all of those that come of him counted according to the Holy Scriptures? Through Seth. When you read Genesis 5, through Seth. And so forth, man. Those are the sons of God. Then you have Noah, who had Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The chosen was through Shem. It means name. The legacy, the name, would all be continued through him, through his son Arphaxad, all the way up to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who had 12 sons, and in the latter days, a physical seed of those sons is here. All right? And a remnant are going to be heirs to the promise. Okay? This is why we were born. The Lord never, that seed was never cut off. It says, what profit is it unto us that if there being promised an immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring forth death? That's the Lord's mystery. That's the movie. Now, as you keep going down, I'm going to just jump to the point because there's a lot said here, and that's a good chapter if you haven't read it. Verse 57, then answered me and said, this is the condition of the battle. Everything you go through, your bloating, your stomach, okay, your family, your baby mama tripping, you're taking the kids, okay, your wife flipping out and you may have to leave her. And when you think of these things, you're like, how could that be? Well, the Lord's done it before. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which you are witnessing, as though some strange thing has happened unto you. It's happened to various men before. Losing a job. Okay? Hey, hell, you may lose a foot. Who know what the Lord gonna do? What he's wrote for us, we don't know. But brothers we're living in a time where the pains of our walk, we're feeling it now, like more than ever. But guess what? It's just the condition of the battle. Are you going to be overcome by those things? Do you look at this as your origin? Do you understand your mission? This is the condition of the battle which man that is born upon the earth shall fight. Okay? That if he be overcome, he shall suffer, as thou hast said. Are you going to be overcome? But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say, the kingdom. You see? These two scriptures right here are heavy, man. This is the condition of the battle. Your immortal spirit is in mortal flesh. All right? Serving out the end of your our punishment. Okay? Woo! Let's get the book of Luke 14 and 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, in his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Now, that is a hard saying for someone who is of an earthly mindset. What? Nah, nigga, I'm finna like your boy Alazar said. I'm not finna have no boring Passover. I'm gonna live it up. That is a man with an earthly mindset. Now, it's nothing wrong with having fun. All right. But there's particular days that should be sacred, holy, set apart from the behaviors of this world. That's all we saying. But anyway, what was Yahweh Shai saying when he said this? Because a lot of people like to come into this truth and they want to make it about the family and this and that, which is nothing wrong with family. Family is a beautiful thing, but is this The family that we should be worried about is being the first fruits. That's our true origin. Okay, what did Yahweh Shai said? Who is my mother? Who is my brother? Those who do the will of the Lord. Okay, if the people we encounter in this life, some of them happen to be delivered through our sacrifice, call halal Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But just know these things can be given unto you, taken away as a test. And if you be overcome, that's on you. Do you really believe what Yahweh Shai said when he told Peter? Or sickness. It could be a sickness. It can be anything. We all have our own bag of hell, okay, that we have to deal with, all right? And it was all written, and there's no way out, okay? Matthew 19 and 27, and then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and have followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me, in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, ye shall also sit upon 12 thrones, okay, judging the 12 tribes of Israel, setting things in order. Judgment is going to be given directly into your hands. The judgment that Yahweh gave Yahushua, you will partake in that, which we partook of it in the beginning as well. Now we're going to be able to come on earth and set up righteousness, man. As he said, look, there's 10 cities for you because you've been faithful with a little. Here, this is for you. This is for, he's going to give us all. He's going to share the earth with us, brothers. And our women, I mean, goodness, everything's going to be returned, restored to glory. So you can't put too much stake in this world. And you have emotions about it. Peter had emotion about it. He's like, damn, look, man, we gave up everything. See? But the Lord said this, and everyone, and do you believe this? That's another thing. We have to make it a point to believe these words, man. And everyone that forsaketh houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive an hundredfold. Again, your parents are really, all right, your sons and daughters. It's a hard saying, okay? But the Lord allowed them to meet in this lifetime to bring you forth. But your true origin, your true father is Yahweh through Yahweh Shai. Thus, sons of God. That's what we are supposed to keep our focus on. Once we get back to that, everything's going to be good. So all of these particular friends, man, I love my friends. I love my homie. Man, this is my homie, my ride or die. I've been with him since I was little, but he ain't in this truth. There's going to come a point where there's a separation, and it may become, hey, man, this dude acted funny. Man, you got to understand, I'm going to receive him back anyway. In whatever capacity the Lord gives him back to me, or women. There's particular women you meet, you be like, man, this is an ancient union. Goodness gracious. I know I was with her before. All right, then something happened. Is that truth? She's taken away from you. The Lord can restore her back to you in her perfection. Okay, without them crooked ass bottom teeth, perfect. Without them hard ass heels, perfect. Without that stupid ass westernized attitude, perfect. You can have a wife and children. Y'all take pictures with the same turtleneck on, the same big ass shoes, jerseys over the turtleneck. Right. You're just a lovely family. And then all of a sudden, there comes a point where for the gospel's sake, it may be a hindrance unto you. And what do? Do you sit? Nah, you don't separate. You keep your eyes on the prize, man. And this is going longer than I thought. So let me get a few more. So look, you're going to receive 100-fold of all of these things. All of these people are going to be received back to you, all right, in their proper order, 100-fold. And you're going to inherit everlasting life. Okay? Let me get this one real quick. Then I'll get 3 more, and I'm going to close it out. Luke 22:28, ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father have appointed unto me. This earth, we're finally going to inherit it, starting at the promised land, to set up righteousness, man, which the Lord wanted from the beginning. He just has this peculiar way of us getting it, man. And then we go appreciate it, then the way he did it is like, wow. Even Ezra had questions. Well, why the Lord do it like this? Why the Lord do it like that? Why couldn't he just make Adam perfect and we be good? Well, he wanted the heathen to have, the Lord is fair, man. Heathen had their rulerships. Esau, like, hey, he wanted it the way he wanted it. And it's a beautiful movie. Romans 8:18, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. Okay? For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. Okay? There's another here. Wow. Woo, this is a whole beautiful chapter too. And see, now that I'm going into this, some of these scriptures, they're hitting harder. Romans 8:29, 28, and we know that all things work together for the good to them that love the Most High, and to them who are called according to his purpose. Woo! For whom he did foreknow, he did also predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. And that's Yahushua. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them also he called, and whom he called, them also he justified, and to whom he justified, them also he glorified. And as you're going through these trials, the lies that are going to come up on you, you cannot allow your love for this life to bow the knee because of the lies and the things people are going to be saying. That would mean you didn't understand the mission in your origin. What can we say to these things? If God be for us, who shall be against us? Okay. Let's see here. Verse 35, who shall separate us from the love of a Mashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? See, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long, and we are accounted as sheep to the slaughter. And you got to be okay with that. It's a condition of the battle. Okay. And of course, sometimes you feel like, damn, it's like the Lord is with the people of the world more with us. All right. But we have that much more of a hell because what? We're those first fruits. All right. Whom he loved, he chastened. That's why it's hard on you. Count it all joy. And that's not easy to do. Like that picture of that dog and his eyes are going both ways and there's fire all around him. He's like, everything's fine. Oh, man. Nay, in all things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I'm persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any creature, all right, and with the creatures, the women, children, they're a part of that. Your dog. Okay. None of that shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Yahushua HaMashiach, our Lord. Revelation 12:11, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Why? Because they understood their origin and they understand the mission. Okay. The things that they have come across in this life, they just look at it for what it is and they move on. It is what it is. Okay. Again, it don't mean you walking around kicking stuff over. You got a business. You don't go to work. You kick your wife in the ass, throw the plates at her. No. That ain't what that means. But that means nothing. No earthly circumstance will separate you from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. And I'll end it off here. 2 Timothy 3:2-3. Therefore thou endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach. See? No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. You were chosen to be a soldier. You're in a war. You're on the front line of a spiritual war. Soldier.
Strong's G 4757. Stratiotes. Stratiotes.
A common soldier. Metaphorically, a champion of the cause of Hamashiach Yahushai. The root word. See, you're not in a war. Those who are in the military, they're not regular civilians. They're in Iraq or wherever the hell they are on a mission, a wicked mission. We are on a righteous one. An army, a band of soldiers, the host of heaven, troops of angels, the heavenly bodies, stars of heaven. All right, so called on account of their number and their order. Heavy. But we're in these fleshly bodies, man. So I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah. Hopefully y'all brothers and you sisters who are watching were edified. This was more for the men of the Lord who are but everybody can take from this at the end of the day. So hopefully y'all edified on to the next. Shalom.